The Victims Reparations Law that has recently been passed in the Gambia has really given hope to victims who have been waiting since the end of the TRRC to see such a law established so that victims can be granted their reparations.
In general, I believe that the victims have definitely seen this as a major milestone. What we need to do is to look at the depth and the context of what we have now with the passage.
I think this is another moment that we should use and take advantage of so that we can continue our advocacy. I know a lot of civil society organizations, including ourselves, have been working a lot since the end of the TRRC to make sure that the reparations is granted, but also to make sure that reparations consider issues around gendered issues, the differences between rural and urban areas when it comes to considering granting reparations. So we are considering different things and seeing how can we amplify our advocacy efforts to make sure that the reparations really goes through smoothly. We know that a lot of victims continue to suffer and a lot of victims are waiting to see reparations being granted. So people have been really excited and hopeful to see this law.
So for the victims themselves who have been part of the process throughout, this signifies a major milestone. What we have is that there is support as well in some angles and in some areas, but in others for whom it bears no significance, there is a bit of indifference. So there's still a lack of understanding about what reparations mean and what the Victims Reparations Bill entails and what are the different elements and issues that have to be looked into. So we definitely need to unpack it, and we need to do that by also creating awareness about the provisions, awareness about the process, awareness also about how long it might take, because right now it's just a start and there's a whole process that has to go through.
Whilst we are excited about the law, we do acknowledge that there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. Advocacy needs to continue from the civil society organizations, from victim-led organizations, to ensure that the promise that is in the law it's actually fulfilled, that victims are granted reparations, and that the establishment of a Victims Reparations Commission doesn't get delayed, so that we will see the process start as soon as possible. I think fears exist about the implementation of the law, but we are encouraged by the fact that we see political will. The fact that this reparations bill has been passed is one example. Our fear is that the time frame, how soon will this process start? We've already seen a lot of victims dying since the TRRC ended, and others continue to suffer.
And what are the challenges for implementation? That includes also perhaps not having sufficient resources. And even if the resources are there, the lack of political will in order to see it go through. And what do we say in terms of the Victims Reparations Bill? I say for reparations as a whole, it's not just about the monetary aspect and element of reparations, but that one should be able to look at issues from a broader perspective and take all forms of reparations into perspective so that it would be much more encompassing. There could be piecemeal implementation as opposed to waiting for a holistic approach, which in some cases will not work.
We continue with that advocacy. We will continue holding people who are responsible accountable so that victims have the reparations that they deserve.